Is Israel really controlling the world?
Yeah, I mean, you have, highlighted quite important areas in your introduction. I mean, you have started with Israel is controlling the policy process in Middle East, and also, you have highlighted some of the important bases that America has been maintaining. There are certain things, of course, there is no doubt about it. That Israel is, as you mentioned, running the show. I would say that Israel is basically guiding the policy process when it comes to, the foreign policy in the Middle Eastern countries. And I would say that, this is not something new that we see that Israel is somehow controlling the foreign policy towards Middle East. I mean, you have to go back and you have to study the history of, the creation of Israel, that how basically Israel was being created, and then you have to study also the history of those 4 to 5 wars that Israel so far have fought against all the Muslim Arab nations, and how basically Israel was basically being backed up and being supported by earlier France and some other Western countries, and then later the responsibility was basically being taken by United States of America. There are certain things I would say that, as you mentioned about some of the important lobby, and I would say that there is a APAC, American Israel Policy Public Affairs Committee. I mean, historically speaking, this is one of the most important committee or lobby which has been created so far, in the history of politics and in the history of international relations. And I would tell you that, this lobby and this APAC, we say that, American Israel Public Affairs Committee has been working on 2 broad strategies. Number one, the first strategy they has been working on that, they exert significant influence over the public policy, in CIA, in White House, in Pentagon. And the second strategy, that they have to ensure the public discourse of Israel, that it remains favorable, right? Why? Because they always talk about that, Arab countries, or let's say the Muslim countries in the Middle East, are somehow creating an existential threat to Israel. That's not true. Why? Because now Israel is basically creating some kind of existential threat to other countries. You see? Absolutely. I mean, Israel is the only strong military in the Middle East, located right there, right? And it is being crowded by more than 20 countries, the Muslim countries, right? Now, all those 20 countries are basically being fearful. Why? Because they have the absolute and ultimate sense of security in the form of, the nuclear weapons. The only country to have the nuclear weapons, the only country to have the strongest military, right? And I tell you something important, that, Israel's security in the Middle East, America always considered that it is basically the American security. And America always ensure, every president of the United States of America, they, ensures and they guarantees that, nothing goes against the strategic interest of Israel in the Middle East. So these are quite,
even in the US, you see their people sitting in all big offices, sitting in all top positions. So involved in every decision-making process.
Yes. So I mean, this is quite alarming. I mean that, and there is another sense that, which prevailed, that, it's not the rest that hates the West. My understanding about is that it is the West. There is something, there is some serious problem in the DNA of the West. Why? Because, theoretically speaking, I would say that, there is some problem with their mindset as well. Why? Because somehow, I try to understand that they are somehow influenced by the race theory. And that race theory suggests that only the white race can control, and they have the claim and the right to, to dictating the agenda of the world.
The chosen people,
and,
the Holy Land.
Yes, I mean, so, yes. I mean, and there is another aspect that, when you read the history of, some other civilization, I would say that the Western civilization is the only civilization that had killed more people so far as compared to any other civilization in the past. I mean, there are certain things, and I definitely share the same view as you said, that that currently Israel through its lobby and that American Israel Public Affairs Committee, they are controlling the policy agendas towards Middle East and as well as globe as well, and they are running the show. Yes.